Hello, it's been like what, a month since I last uploaded? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, this project is the first completed, like start to finish completed project that I've done since breaking my arm in November. And honestly, I'm surprised I even got through all of this because oh my god, I was in so much pain. My bones took so long to heal and I was sitting so irritated and aggravated that I was just like, you know what, fine, I'm gonna just work through the pain. I know I shouldn't, but I have to because just sitting around all day is driving me insane. So I have all my epoxy sculpt here measured out and I'm just dusting it with some cornstarch to keep it from sticking to the wax paper. And then I used some of this resin I have sitting around. It's actually really old. I need to use it up. So I used it to make a bunch of gears for this project and another one. But I actually weighed way too many. So I'm going to have to either use it for something else or, I don't know, maybe use it to bulk up some other resin project. Because I made way too many. There's like 4 containers of gears. And since the wood sealer and acrylic are very shiny, I had to make sure to abrade the surface so that I can attach the resin and all the paint later nice and easily. One safety tip is always sweep up dust particles with a wet cloth or mop. Never try to sweep it up, it is very dangerous. And then here in this messy book, this is actually the sketchbook that I carry with me. And here you can see the initial sketches that I had for this project. It was originally meant to be on a much shorter panel, but I figured that since I like my things to be very heavy on one side, like everything on the bottom, everything on one side, it would look better on a much longer panel. So that's what I'm doing now. And you see I'm just marking things out with a pencil. I've already started marking it with the paint of where I want it to go, but I decided it may look better if I change it up. I'm just using some super glue to attach it to the panel. Honestly, Gorilla Glue is... everyone should just have tubes and tubes of this on hand. And for this project, since I'm going for, I wouldn't say a greasy, oily copper pipe, I'm actually going to make the drips super duper thick. And I'm using epoxy sculpt, which is actually really great because it folds, is that the right word? Molds very easily. And with water, before it cures, you actually smooth it out really nicely. And I took the time to make sure I sculpted and smoothed every single portion out because sanding this is going to be a pain in the ass. See, look how smooth those drippy bits are. The top still needs a little bit of work, but we'll ignore that. And it's gonna go right back under the heat lamp so I can take a break later because I have class.
So, I don't know, I haven't been doing a lot of work this past weekend because it's been extremely cold. And, I mean, I already have joint problems because of the weather, but my left knee, from the car accident, and then my right arm, because it's still broken, hurt so bad the last couple of weeks. I don't know, so I'm gonna stop rambling and get back to work. I think, so today I could probably do this corner, these bottom corners, and then tomorrow work on like refining some more of the areas. Tomorrow during class, since it's just a Zoom class, I can just kind of off screen work on sanding things. And then Wednesday, again, go back to filming and work on some more detail parts. And hopefully by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those few hours before I had to leave for work, I can start doing the sealing and gilding process again. Hopefully I don't make a huge mess like I did last time, because I'm still finding glitter everywhere. It is insane. Alright, oh my god. Ah! Oh my god, I just spilled, because my right hand is still kind of messed up. I've been putting things on the left hand side, but now I knock things over. I can't go a day without knocking something over, and it's... I just can't win. Oh my god, before I go, I'm like really excited because, the last 6 months from, I guess, August, September, October, November, December, January. Yeah, the last 6 months since the car accident, I have not been doing as much work creatively or just anything as I have. So I'm not trying to play catch up. I'm still taking my time, but honestly, any little thing I do for me, it just feels like such a huge achievement, and I'm just so excited to show you. Okay, so the panels, right? I think I showed a little bit in the time lapse, but like they've been curing for a while, so now they're just super shiny. Let me see if I can show you before I lose light. Okay, wait, ow, okay. Let me put this down here. Okay, so the watercolor These are the watercolor pans I made with the not empty, I kind of just cheated. I just made, I took a Gansai paint pan, popped it out of its original pan, made a silicone mold of it, and then the resin I have that's actually expiring, starting to expire, I'm using it to make watercolor pans. The resin, when it expires, it's, oh my god, it feels like I'm getting a tan. You can see the reflection on my face. So, resin, when it gets old, it's really, really brittle. I mean, resin is brittle anyway, but it gets to the point where, how do I put this? Resin is brittle. Like, you have something really, really thin and you drop it, you can shatter your resin. But if you have like an inch wide, like an inch thick piece of resin, it should not shatter at all. And my resin is doing that, and I realize it's old, like 2 years old. So for watercolor pans like this, it's perfect. And so back to the super shiny, like, ooh. Right, so like, it might blow out my camera, which is kind of doing now, but this is a couple ones that I did a while ago. I think actually right before the accident. I think I started these a while ago and then started to finish them before the accident. And now 6 months later, I'm finally getting back to it. So I have this. It's like a spider. I'm thinking red and black glaze washes on this one. This is supposed to be wisteria. This, again, titanium white is very, very opaque. So I'm gonna go through and sand that back and then add more glazing layers of color. This, oh my nerves. This is a daisy, shiny, shiny daisy. And then I just have my other panels that are finally coming together. My silver, this is all silver. This one is a silver sheet. This one, if it'll come up on camera at all and not blow your eyes out, this is gold flakes. You can kind of see a little bit if I angle it, the texture in here. Gold flakes. This is copper flake. Copper flake. And then look. And then I made a couple with like just the extra leftover flakes in the box. Silver flake. Silver flake. Gold flake. This is like silver and gold, I think. And then I just have, again, my regular old gold, silver, gold flakes. And this one actually came out better than I thought it would. At the very, very, very end, I had a lot of leftover flakes. And yeah, it's, again, blowing out the camera because it's so shiny, which means this might be really hard to film. I might have to film these at night. Shit. Okay, yes. Look at that. Oh my god, it's so shiny. It's a combination of like the gold, maybe, and probably like the lighting and the GAC 700 on it, but like, I feel like if it were stranded in an island or something, I need to do Morse code. Oh my god. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going back to work. Sorry, I rambled on way too long.
Okay, so now we're back to work. I'm just filling the gaps into the gears because it's going to be layers of gears, strips, and more gears on top. So I need to make sure the bottom layers are completely full. That's what I'm doing now. And then I just made strips of various sizes. Some are really big, some are really tiny. And I'm actually using the front of the panel to make the backs flat. It just helps make everything in here nice and neatly. I don't have a lot of air pockets. And like, look at that. It's kind of rough right now, but again, it's going to be another layer on top of that. And then I'm just using a bunch of aluminum foil to bulk out the bottom because like I said earlier, the bottom of the panel is going to be very, very heavy, both visually and physically. Epoxy sculpt is actually pretty heavy, so I'm using aluminum foil to make an armature, and I'm just going to super glue it to the bottom of the panel. The super glue is just to hold it in place while the epoxy sculpt cures. Honestly, once the epoxy sculpt cures, that is a better hold than the super glue. And there's going to be a nice thick layer of epoxy sculpt on here, so there's honestly no way that's going to snap off unless you actually like crack it over your knee. But then why would you do that? So this first layer of epoxy sculpt is very, very rough. It's not meant to look perfect. It's just to seal the aluminum foil and make sure that it's firmly attached to the panel so that when I go to add the additional layers on, there's no wiggling at all. And once this is done, I'm gonna pop it right back under the heat lamp. You don't need a heat lamp, I'm just really impatient.
Okay, I'm actually gonna like take a break. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat. I want hot pot, but I also don't feel like going out to get hot pot. I don't know. I feel like I might, you know what? I think I'm gonna just make some mac and cheese since I do have one that's like, I think it's dinosaur shaped, and you know, yeah, we're gonna make some mac and cheese. I'm only going to use half of the pasta because the sauce pack they give you is only enough for half the pasta. So I'm going to save this and use this for something else later. I think I do have an Alfredo sauce, but they're so cute. This is so fun. I need to go buy more. I don't know why, but shaped pasta just tastes so much better. Okay, so while I was sanding and working on sculpting the pipe thing I'm working on, I decided to put on some anime, you know? There's this ever divide argument, whatever, about subs versus dubs. Some dubs are actually really good, some are freaking terrible. But I put on dubs because I wanted to focus on this and not have to worry about like subtitles this, subtitles this, subtitles this, you know? And so I put on Kimetsu no Yaiba. It was bearable until Inosuke came onto the scene, and I'm just like, oh no, no. Okay, yeah, so, no more Kimetsu no Yaiba for me. I'm gonna go back and watch Space Dandy, because it's kind of bad, really bad. I just got done class. It was okay, so whatever. But like, I have to keep my cameras on all the time, so I couldn't really work on a lot or most of this today. I mean, I kind of got some done. I did a little bit at the bottom here. It's kind of weird though. It's not showing up. It's kind of blowing out the camera a little bit here. So I'm actually going to finish fleshing this out. It looks like crap. All I did was just, I made a foil armature basically, and just did enough clay on the outside to get it so it's not wobbling and squishing everywhere. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day actually fleshing this out a little bit and smoothing it out, probably embedding some gears in here. And I think tonight that'll be good to finish painting this entire panel and the gears, not the drips, with this teal color, and then doing the copper flakes and the MSA varnish tonight so that it can cure overnight, you know, so they can't be in the studio while I'm doing that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So today's gonna be just finishing it up. I think I don't know what we're gonna do for dinner though. I did get another one of those like really bad, not bad as in flavorful, but bad for your health, instant hot pots. So I think I'm gonna have those tonight because I do have a Discord chat call with my friends later on because I can't raid. So like Final Fantasy 14, I used to be like a top tier raider, but I haven't been keeping up with like my gear and melding and all that stuff, so I can't really do a lot of the like top tier rating as, you know, I used to. Plus I don't have time because I'm working on my art more and school and just focusing on getting out of hospitality. So I think I'm gonna just like hang out with them while they raid and just eat. They're all logging on right now, so I'm gonna go hang out with them and finish working.
So I'm back again with another one of these really terrible hot pots. Not terrible as in flavor, but terrible for your health. They are so full of salt. And this one is actually really, really spicy. So I only put half the seasoning and half the oil packet, and it was still insane. When I bought the one I ate during New Year's, it was actually in a pack of 3, and this is the last one. And I think no more instant hot pot. I'm just gonna go to restaurants after this because this is a lot. And then it was really, really cold in my apartment, so I was using the steam coming up off the hot pot to warm my hands up, and it was just, oh my god, it was so good. Okay, yeah, I'm glad I added water because this is like going to be a really dry one. All right, taste test. Glad I didn't add all of the oil in the barbecue powder because it'd be way too spicy. And of course, we gotta have my baby. Totally not sponsored, but if Downy Cider wants to sponsor me, I'm not gonna turn it down. So anyway, back to work. As you see, I'm covering everything that's going to have copper foiling on it with this turquoise color. This is supposed to represent copper that starts to patina. And then here I'm putting on the glue. I'm trying to avoid getting on the drips because those are actually going to be painted black later on. So I'm trying to get it in the areas. I'm not really being too precise because I don't want the copper foil to cover every little bit. I do want a lot of the patina color to show through. So later on you see me kind of just slapping it on. I'm not really putting a lot of effort into pushing the foil into the cracks and covering everything because I want that kind of beat up distressed look. So this footage is unfortunately very dark and I am very sorry. Again, with the copper flakes, I'm kind of just slapping it on and using the brush to push it in the corners. I'm really not being too precise with this, like I said before, because I just want to get the general coverage of the flakes. I still want a lot of that copper showing through. And as you can see here, it's not sticking to any of the areas I'm not supposed to because I made sure to not put a lot of it or try to get any of it on the drips. And so because I was so careful, not really careful, but I was trying to avoid so many of the drippy areas, some of the glue actually dried, so the flakes weren't sticking as well as I had hoped. But that does actually help me out in the end because it helps again with that super distorted area. And I think I wasted too much time on the bottom part here with the gears because most of this did get covered up by the clay later. But I think still putting forth the effort to make sure that this was covered in case I changed my mind later did actually help. You see that little can of acrylic clear coat? I thought maybe a video or two ago that I was not going to have enough for any of my panels, but I still have a third of this left. I do like 3 or 4 coats of this per panel, and I still have so much of this can left, and I am like mind blown. So I think this summer, before all the summer humidity kicks in, because Philly summers are so freaking humid, I'm gonna have to do another huge batch of panels. So I think I might actually do a tutorial for you guys, we'll see. But then you see here the GAC 700, how it's beating up on the surface. It's because the acrylic top coat, again, is very shiny. So the more and more you work the brush while medium's wet, it kind of whips air into it, it gets coverage. You still need to do 3 or 4 layers, but that does work. So while the GAC 700 is curing, I'm gonna paint some of these gears. This is just a simple, what's it called, glitter and gray, black, white, some iridescent paint mixed in just to get a general metal coating. This is again going to get covered with some bronze and gold paint. I'm not being particularly neat, just getting it covered with the gray, getting covered with the gold. Messy, because again, this is not supposed to be a very neat project. It's supposed to be a gross, dirty, greasy copper pipe. So if the gears look kind of messed up and gross, that's totally fine. It fits the whole theme of the project. You know, I wasn't really big into acrylic paints. I only started using them more because I was doing more sculptures, but the more and more I use them, the more I'm starting to fall in love with them and realize like, oh shit, okay, Golden. I've invested a lot of money in Golden paint and I'm just like, whoa. Wow, I am never going to go back to using cheap acrylic paints again because this shit is life. So a lot of heavy industrial machine. The lube they use looks like a really thick jelly, like a brown Vaseline. So I'm going to use the gel medium with these transparent colors to kind of recreate that look. It's mainly to fill in the gaps on the gears because I wanted to make that area kind of smooth. Again, look like it's sitting in oil before I get to the actual clay portion because I still want some kind of transparent look with a little bit of color on top.
Kind of looks like butterscotch.
This medium will take a couple of days to dry, so you'll see in a couple clips later these weird white spots. They will go away once the medium is done curing.
Okay, so my central air unit just turned off, so I'm trying to check in really quick before it starts screaming at us again. But yeah, so my copper pipe, as you can see, you can still see some white here. That's from the gel medium. It does actually dry clear. I did a few layers of colored gel medium, just trying to fill it in. And then throughout the day, I'm gonna put another layer, more layers of gears on. So it's gonna be a layer of gears, put some more drips on, another layer, more drips, just to help build up the layers evenly. It's also easier to sculpt the drips on in layers. That's what I'm gonna do today. But while that is still curing, I'm actually gonna finish working on some stickers and my washi tape and sticky note designs for my hopefully eventual shop opening. And then I'm hoping that maybe work on some painting today too, because as you can see, I finally have my arm back. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so I can't move I'm not supposed to do my arm this high up or out, because that actually hurts really bad, but I at least now have a little more control over my arm, you know, more freedom, more movement. So painting isn't horrible. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna work on that today. I have some watercolors. I have some watercolor doodles that I can scan in and turn into stickers. I have a couple Posca pen doodles that I'm probably gonna turn into stickers or just upload them and turn them into mini prints. But I do have a lot of stuff that I'm going to be working on. Probably won't put everything up in my shop, but at least do the stuff I have done, like the stickers, some clay pins. The sticky notes and washi tape are going to be later because, you know, shipping and manufacturing. And then I also have like 10, 20 random oil paintings that people I know personally have wanted to buy. So I sold them a couple people, like person-to-person transactions, so I might put the rest up as shops in case people want them. It's still weird that I still have that, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, but that feeling in the back of my mind being told that abstract art and the stuff you do isn't real art, you know? My family was always like, if it's not, like the old master style is not real painting, why would anyone want that crap? And it's weird where like, I just be experimenting and doing random crap like this copper pipe thing. Someone's already like, yo, I'm gonna buy that. And it's like, weird. Is it, people actually like what I do? Like, do you just like me or do you like my work? It's just, either way, it makes me happy that people do want to buy my stuff, but it's still like, ooh, kind of a weird feeling.
So now that all my gears are gone, I'm going to get out my trusty super glue and start gluing on some of these thinner panels on top of the other gears. Again, this is just to help build up layers. So it's going to be the ones that are covered with the copper foil and gel medium butterscotch is to help reinforce that this is a copper pipe area. These are just piles and piles of gears on top of each other. And then here, I'm just going to take some epoxy sculpt to help fill in the gaps, make everything nice and smooth. And oh my god, can you stop biting my feet? Sorry about that, my cat's wasn't intention. So I did lose some of the clips when my computer decided to restart halfway through editing. I'm so sorry. But you can see I've already done a good portion of the bottom layer. Again, just making teardrop shapes and attaching them to the bottom of the board. I'm just sanding the surface smooth before I add on new layers of clay. I've embedded some other gears on top of it, again, to help with the layers and layers of dirt and grime and grease. This is actually one of my favorite sculpting tools, but I made a mistake of letting clay dry on top, so I'm just smoothing it down again to get it nice and smooth before working with it. In between layers, because this piece there's a lot of like cracks and nooks and crannies in here, I will sand in between layers to make sure everything's smooth, because once I get to the end, there's no going back really. And I have the top portion of the panel covered so that I don't get anything on it, because I'm still sculpting on the bottom. And some of these ledges weren't as smooth and even as I wanted it to, so I'm just adding little extra bits of clay here and there to make sure everything's nice and smooth and flows nicely, even though it is chunky oil. And some of these bulbs, like this one here, moved. I actually moved it while it was still wet, so I had it cured weird. So I'm just taking this color pencil and marking all the areas that need to be sanded down and repaired before I continue on. And here is why I almost always have my hair covered when I'm in my studio. There is so much dirt and debris flying off from sanding this. This is just with a nail drill. Can you imagine if I used an actual flex shaft? I didn't take any video of it, unfortunately, but here is a photo of what it looks like before I start painting. So once that was done, I decided to go to Tattoo Mom's in South Philly for burgers and the drinks. I usually just go to Whiskey Ginger, but I decided to try this new cocktail called a fish bowl. It tastes like fruit punch and it has Swedish fish and this really awesome fortune teller that we could not figure out how to get how to work. But we had so much fun. I'm actually glad I finally get to go out with my friends.
I don't know. Okay, wait. Directions are right here. Am I not doing it right? Oh, the whole thing's moving. It's like we need It's like bonito flakes.
Moving head and tail in love. Curling, no, curling sides? Nicole.
I don't know.
Girls are entirely passionate.
Yes, because I have whiskey.
So after carefully painting all the drips with black paint, I'm now going to go in with color shifting, interference, and iridescent paints. Because if you ever seen oil on the road and it looks like rainbow, that's the look I'm going for with these drippy areas. I'm not really being neat and precise with the application because I still want it to look splotchy. And I'm using my finger to push around the pigments. Because these colors, it's very chunky. It's a lot of mica in here, so it's a very chunky pigment. And when you move around with your finger, things deposit kind of weird. And I think that looks really good with, again, the ebbs and flows of the clay, the knobbiness of it. So I'm going in with blues, I'm going up with greens, I'm going up with yellows. And some of these areas here that look white, those are actually the interference paint. And when they dry a little bit clearer, but it leaves like weird ridges in the color. And that helps reinforce, again, that oil slick look. And at the end, I just highlighted some areas with gold paint. Unfortunately, all the videos of the final piece got horribly corrupted and I cannot fix them, but I do have photos at the end. And the panel, actually there's a huge lump in the middle of the panel somewhere, so I'm not going to sell this piece. I actually gave it away to my mother when she was up here in Philly. This was a fun experimental piece. Like, there's a giant divot or bump in the middle of the panel that's like annoying me, so I think I might actually try to do this again, or at least carry this idea over onto another piece. I don't know, you'll see, but I kind of like the way it comes out for an experiment, kind of just, you know, fuck around and find out piece. I'm actually really happy with this, and I will definitely try this idea in the future. And at the end, I decided to add some black glazes to further dirty up the piece, you know, stick with that dirty copper pipe vibe. And for an experimental piece, I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out, even with the weird defect in the panel. And honestly, I cannot wait to show you guys some of the other projects I have working in the future. And I'm just so excited for everything.